Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you to talk today about tribes, survival communities. And I'm going to start out talking about why we need tribes. I'll recap a little bit on that, and because many of you are new watchers, and I'm going to talk about what we're doing. We're starting to have developments. Things are starting to happen. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the urgency of it. And a couple other things. I'm going to talk to you about one of the constructions I'm going to do that would really help and enable survival tribe communities. So we've got a few things to hit here today, and we will have a few hopeful, nice things to show here, and we'll try to make this short though. So, why tribes? I've talked about this before, as I said, but a lot of you are new to my channel. So, the lone survivor, many of you are, lone preppers, lone survivor, has got many challenges. It's tough, nearly impossible to expect to survive long term on your own. Many of you think you can, many of you are introverts, and it might seem okay to you, but we're really social animals as human beings, which makes social distancing a bit of a difficult thing. Tribes also address that, by the way, but we'll get to that. The thing about the lone prepper is that you've only got so many bullets. And if you're being attacked, you got to be right each and every time. Each and every. You may be good. You may be the best. But often the best in the West was took one in the vest. Yeah. So no matter how good, they often got planted. Because you don't have eyes in the back of your head. I do tell you to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. But, wow, you can't look 360 all the time. And you've got to be really good. And so that other guy may be one of the best too. Maybe he catches you when you were really sick. Maybe you're throwing up. Maybe you've got pneumonia. Maybe you've got some other issue, broke a leg. How do you take care of yourself when you're hurt, when you're injured? It helps for people to have each other's backs. Now I'm going to talk to you about having backs. Here's a great example of the value of having backs. I'm going to tell you a story. A story about my best friend and I. When my best friend and I were young lads, probably somewhere between, probably around 12-year-old, we had this hobby. It was kind of a cruel hobby, but kids are what kids are, right? Especially boys going up in the country. In the 60s, we had a mischievous streak. Imagine that, right? But we liked to pick on worthy opponents. If it wasn't worthy, why bother, So, there was these things called wasps, and wasps were the kind of things that would sting you, and we'd been stung by them before, so we kind of had a natural angst to get back at them. And we knew that if you just let them stay too long, they could cause problems. So we would attack wasp nest. But that wasn't fun enough because we discovered real fast we could dispatch a wasp nest with a hose pipe or other means and get rid of it pretty quickly. I've even learned I could smash them in the palm of my hand if I could get covered all at once with wasp on it. My dad used to it after he worked all day out in the field. And got really hot and sweaty, would just take his hand and put it under his arm and where it stunk and just reach up and grab the wasp nest in the back. He didn't get stung. I never tried that one. Yeah, okay. But so what happened? My friend and I, we had each other's back. Well, what we do first is we would actually agitate these wasps for a while, get them angry. We'd throw sand at them, rocks, because we wanted a nice big angry nest before we would attack it. We didn't want to attack some little wimp. And then we would eventually attack them and take them out. Well, that got to be we got kind of good at it, and that got kind of boring after a point. Well, one year, I had a well house. The well house was filled with wasp nests. I mean, it was wasp nests wall to wall and over the ceiling. I've never seen so many wasp nests in my life. And mind you, this was not a big well house. It might have stood yay tall, total at the roof. And we were about yay tall back in the day, maybe down in here somewhere, I don't know. I was 12-ish, maybe, I don't know, however tall I was when I was about 12. And we got the bright idea that we were going to kill all those wasps. I'm talking about a well house and a closed structure full of wasps. And we were going to go in there, inside, and attack these wasps. Now, we did leave the door open, but the well had a hose pipe spigot in it. And we each got about a 3-foot section of well pipe hose, which is a black, stiff, semi-flexible hose, as you might imagine. You drop down a well. Some of you know what I'm talking about. And we had some of that left over from having had that well put in. And so we each took about a 3-foot section of it. And we went back to back in that well house. I took the spray nozzle in one hand. We each had the hose pipe in the other hand. And I mean, there were thousands of wasps in there. There were wasp nests everywhere. We started spraying water and hitting and swatting and hitting and swatting and knocking wasp nests down and hitting. And some wasps were, they were flying, and we were squirting and swatting, and wasps were flying. We killed every wasp in that well house, and neither one of us got one sting. Stephen Henson, he was my best friend back in the day. Neither one of us got a single sting. Now, that may be hard to believe, and maybe the angels of the greater creator were watching after us for some other destinies. But we survived. We survived without blemish. Can't say as much for the wasp, but maybe that was a terrible thing to do. But maybe it was done as a life lesson to teach me something that I could carry forward to the day today when we may need it. It's very powerful to have each other's backs. You can have each other's backs against a great onslaught, against a huge diversion, a huge onslaught. A lot of stuff can come at you, but if you've got each other's back, if you really trust who you're with, if you trust your partner, your partners, your community, your tribe, you would be surprised what you can survive. There's cases where very small forces have held off overwhelmingly large forces, like the 300 that you may have known of when the Persians attacked the Greeks. Unitas, the Greek leader, they held off far, far bigger forces. The tales of the Israelites, before they went into Israel. The tales of 45 Confederates holding off 45,000 invading Yankees in Galveston. Of course, they were trying to land a ship. But there's just all kind of cases where small, tiny forces have held off very far larger organizations. So having each other's backs is the key thing. Having each other's backs is crucial. And that's why a tribe or a community matters. That's what you can't do by yourself. Because when you're by yourself, who's got your back? What happens when you're sick? What happens when you break that leg? You break your arm? And how do you care for yourself when you're like that, let alone defend yourself if you have to? What happens when you trip in the dark going around the house because you heard something at nighttime and you've busted yourself up? The tribe gives you that. It also gives you a wider skill set, better abilities to produce food, better abilities to specialize in some skills and labor sets to maximize your efficiency and your output as an organization. It gives you an edge, an angle to survive. And if you should find a large motorcycle gang beating on your door, you're better served if there are a few more of you than one. That's my point. That's my case. There's a lot more that can be said. I could go on and we could probably talk about this for hours, but there's really no need to, because your imagination should be able to fill in the blanks. Now, some of you just may have the personality type that, hey, you're determined you're going to be a lone prepper, a lone survivor. Well, good for you, more power to you. But for a lot of us, it makes more sense to try to form communities, and that's what we're doing. And now we've initiated that, and I have good news on that front. Before I go into that, I want to say this. You can support my channel by clicking prepwithgreg.com, link below, or just going to prepwithgreg.com. Takes you to My Patriot Supply. And from that link, you can also get into My Patriot Supply, all the other stuff they have to offer. But there's a special there, $100 off for 1 month long-term food storage. So check that out. That is a great deal, especially right now. That is an awesome deal. Also, you may not be able to get a lot of this stuff soon. We just don't know what's going to drop next. And also, you can go to True Leaf Market, my link to True Leaf Market. If you click my links and go through my links, you're supporting my channel. If you go there just on your own, I get half my people say, hey, Greg, thank you so much for helping me. I learned this, and I went there, and I went to this website, and I bought tons of stuff, but they didn't use my link. So, okay, good. I'm glad you got it, but you could have helped me out a little bit if you'd used my link. So, yeah, I just got a huge water bill, by the way. So, I mentioned the other day that they hit me up with 480,000 gallons of water usage. Let me show you what that translates to. That's the bill. It is. So I said 3,500 $44.89. Yeah, that ain't trivial, my friends. Yeah, I got my hands full here. It's been a rough month. Rough month in many, many ways, and I'm still trying to overcome a lot of stuff. I had to shut my worm farm down because I just got my hands too full of other things. It will come back. When it does, you can go to greengregs.com and buy worms for your garden. But in the meantime, the link to True Leaf Market. You need to plant your own garden. You need to grow your own food. So True Leaf Market has a link to that. So, what are we doing? Well, just so happens I've got two groups now actively forming tribes. My first group is in Arizona, northeast Arizona. That group is going to be a little bit more private because the property owners there want to vet people in individually, and we've got a very stringent process for that, and they don't want to be publicly known, which most tribes should not be publicly known. By the way, I am a member of that tribe. And in fact, I am working to start a worm farm in Arizona. And the reason for that, and I've shipped worms there, and I was there to receive them, and I am planning to expand that operation. One of the reasons for that is that shipping and postage cost far too much money. I spent over $1,000 in postage last week. That was after I shut my website down 3 days prior to, the end of when I usually take orders. So just go figure. Postage is killing me. I can save money if it's local postage. So for serving people on the West Coast, hey, I love your orders. I'll continue to support you when I stand back up, even if the Arizona operation is not up to capacity yet. However, just let it be known that one day that will be local to you too. People like to buy local, so I will have 2 locals for selling worms, and that's going to help me and it will help you. It also means there'll be fresher worms going out there. And the other good news is that's working, because the worms there are having babies. I was worried about the kind of compost I was using, which is mostly a tree litter because of the amount of resins in it, because of the amount of pine trees there. But it's working. We've got it. We've worked our processes out. That's normally a don't do, but if you can do it, you've got better compost, because the trees have a lot of mineralization. Because look at trees, they have roots, they pull from deep down to get their nutrients, and that includes the minerals that are no longer available to farms because all they fertilize with is NPK. But you can get the magnesium and all these things that are missing from our diet from tree nuts, tree fruits, and trees, tree bark. That's a good way to help remineralize your garden, and it's a good way to also use rock dust, azomite, things like that. So, what else is happening? That tribe is in progress, and it's growing. And we've got a tribe started here in North Alabama. I have a group. We've had some meetings. We're coming together. And the other good news is I've started emailing people. You're getting emails. I told y'all it was going to be a while, and told y'all originally I was going to wait till I get my taxes done. But I'm just afraid we don't have time, that we're running out of time. I'm looking for another shoe to drop. I am starting to work my taxes, but I'm also concurrently sending out the emails to all the people who email me with interest in joining this tribe movement. Now, if you're interested, that email is HAL, H-A-L, the number 5, S-P-A-C-E at AOL.com. Why do I use that email address? It's because I don't use it for anything else. That's why I use it. That was an email address I used to use for some of my club activities for the Huntsville, Alabama L5 Society, hence the name, which was a local space organization. That's why space is in the title. Yeah, I am a rocket guy. So having said that, HAL, H-A-L, 5, S-P-A-C-E at AOL.com. Put tribe in the title. And so put tribe, and also put May. Put the month so I'll know it from the earlier emails that we're going through. We've already sent out some emails. What I'm trying to do with this is I'm trying to figure out where people are and what people's relative skills are and things like that, just so that we can know how to formulate other groups. Now, you may not all want to join a group, and so we have many dimensions to what we can do here. For one, we can be a community distributed across the United States to communicate, share, and trade amongst each other. It's not necessary that we all join together in one particular location, although you're better off if you can find a group that you can do that with. That doesn't mean it has to be a commune. Not at all. I'm not a communist. So I think there's other ways to deal with that. And we're already talking that with our group here and in Arizona. So, we're not looking for a communistic system. If that's what you want and that's what your group wants to be, fine. I have no problem or no issue with that. If that's how you want to operate. Different groups, different tribes can operate differently. That's the beauty of having like different states and different organizations. Each is free to seek its own level of comfort. There's no one size fits all. That's the era of large organizations that try to dominate across vast regions like national governments or international governance, global governance, if you will. There is problems. That is fraught with peril when you try to have the shoe fits all across the entire country. I mean, what works well in Alabama doesn't work well in California. What goes good in, right here in North Alabama and what goes good in Sacramento or San Francisco might vary a bit, just a bit, maybe. All that said, that's okay. That's okay, because each to his own in that area. But if you're going to have each other's back, so you need a morality of some sort. Your word needs to be your bond. That's one of the key things. If your word is not your bond, then no one trusts you to have their back. So you better have your word as your bond so that people will trust you to have their back, and you need to be able to trust them. And one of the key vetting things for anybody joining a tribe is the heart. If you're a sociopath, maybe you're going to remain a lone prepper. Because people are scared of sociopaths. Sociopaths are catastrophic to organizations if you have no empathy. You got to have empathy. That's critical. You got to have a heart. So to me, that's one of the prime number one characteristics anyone has to have to join my tribe is you got to have a heart. You have to have empathy. All that said, let's get back into it. So what am I doing? I am sending out the emails. I'm asking people for where they're at so that we can know who they could associate with, who they could, if there's prospects that we can form tribes in certain areas. I think one of the key other areas is going to be in the Ozarks. I think there's going to be tribes in the Northwest, Midwest, and other parts of the country, maybe even up in the Northeast. I am getting email from people all over the country, and we may get email from people in other countries, and that's good too, because everybody needs a chance. I don't care where you're at, what country you're from. You need a chance to form a group to be able to survive what comes at us. People all over the world are people. We all laugh, we all cry, we all smile, we all do this for yes and this for no. We shake and nod. People all over the world have hearts. There are good people everywhere in the world, as there's bad people everywhere in the world. So we need to get beyond letting people play us against each other. That's another thing we might help accomplish. Now, so the purpose of this again is to get the kind of information that we need to see if there's chances for groups to form in certain areas, that we can kind of get people together to give them a chance to see if they can form a community or a tribe where they're at. I'll also talk about forming better communities in your neighborhood. That'll be a topic down the road. I'll talk more about things like sharecropping your neighbor's lawns. There's a lot of topics I will be covering along those lines. And we're going to have a special project that we're probably going to start here. I know the Arizona tribe is interested in this also, and that is my habitat concept. And this is wood hinge, by the way. And I've got to build the ground level up because my contractor dug the drainage ditch out, didn't drain it deep enough. And so I get about a foot of water. So I'm going to build this up with gravel and put in all the appropriate drains and drains along the walls. This started out to be a house in the style of Mike Ayler, who wrote the $50 Underground House book. You might find him on YouTube. Just search on the $50 Underground House book. But I have decided to instead repurpose this for my habitat concepts in my videos on my habitat. There's a couple of those. And I might do another one that's just a little bit more dedicated to that. But the good thing is, if we start building this thing, when it dries up just a little bit, that'll make a great series of videos, and I will cover all that on my channel. So with all these topics I'm covering and will be covering, you need to double check to make sure you're still subscribed, because the algorithms like to unsubscribe people to my channel. Make sure that you still have the notification bell banged and click for all. If you're not subscribed, this will be a good time to do so, and do bang that notification bell and click all. Another topic we'll be talking about eventually is bees. No, these aren't my bees. They're bees of a friend of mine. I've got too many irons in the fire to have taken this on personally directly, but I've provided a site for them. And my friend, he and I can do some videos together in the not too distant future. So, and it'll also cover more about people being the same all over the world. My friend, by the way, who has that is Palestinian. And sassafras, I covered that. Sweet gum, sassafras to make the tea. Oh, and I talked about my blackberries. Having bees here really helps to pollinate all the plants. And look at all the fresh little blackberries coming up here. There's still some blooms. But look at all that. There's going to be a bountiful load of blackberries here. More sassafras for sassafras tea. You may know root beer. And my honeysuckle is starting to bloom. Yay! I've covered honeysuckle in a video. The flower fell off. Well, let me get one. But you know. Apparently there is a toxic honeysuckle in some part of the country, but fortunately it's not here. Look, I got a wild cherry tree growing here. There's a black cherry. I'm probably going to have to move that tree or do something with it. That's a pretty one. It's growing good. There's a plan to put a greenhouse right here in the future in this area. Big greenhouse. So, look at my... I thought it was important to give you a little something to look forward to. Show you some blackberries. Show you how they're just loaded. How having bees really helps pollinate things. How that makes fruit plentiful. And oh my gosh, I hope that murder hornet never gets here. Holy smoke, what's going on, guys? Are we under some kind of attack? How did that get in the United States? Was that planted on purpose? Come from Asia. Are we in a you know what, attack? What's going on? So, yeah, that's something else I'm going to talk about. I'm going to do some videos on China, yes, and we're going to talk about quite a few other things. There's a lot to cover on that. There's a lot that you may not be aware of, that people need to be aware of. So, yeah, and it's wet. We've got all this condensation in the sky. Well, not condensation, clouds. Nucleated water, thanks to probably grand solar minimum. And that equates to wet grounds, which equates to farmers having difficulty getting in the fields with heavy equipment. I'm still just behind on time, but I can still get in my garden. Time to do it is still challenging to me, but I have started weeding and planting. I'm behind on that, but we're getting it going. As you can see, fresh earth there. In spite of it being wet, you can get in the garden. Wow, look at all those blackberries. Holy smoke. You can get in the garden when the ground looks like this if you don't require heavy equipment. So the small plot intensive agriculture, spin agriculture, styles taught by guys like Urban Gardener, Curtis Stone. Those are very valid ways to farm and garden. The farms run by my friends that are the Dervaes family, who grows 6,000 to 7,000 pounds of food on a tenth of an acre. We could feed 2 billion people from American lawns that way, my friends. 2 billion people. And I got videos on them. So, all that said, I don't want to go too long here. I said it'd be short. But again, we are taking action now to start the tribes. The tribes are forming. We're just getting it started. My apologies for taking so long to get it started. I feel like other shoes are about to drop. So we need to get moving. I don't think we've got a lot of time. I think we've got to get this moving and get moving fast. It's time to go. So please, again, email me if you're interested. hal5space@aol.com. Link will be below. Check out my elderberry bush. I got a bunch of these on the back side too. Those are great. We know that their elderberries are said to fight viral. And again, here's my willow tree, one of them. There's my big willow tree. I did a video on how that's got the same acids in them. It's medicinal like aspirin, same compounds that are active agent in aspirin. And I showed you how to make Tamiflu from sweet gum. I've covered all that in my videos. So if you want to see all my videos, you know, my playlists are just, you know, they fill up too fast. I've not had time to reorganize them. So just go in the top of my channel. Usually it's over on the right hand side or left hand side as you're looking at the screen. And so just click videos, and you scroll down. You may have to click more a few times. You'll be able to see all the videos that I put on my channel. And that includes a number of topics, including gardening topics. And I will do more gardening topics. I will do more wild edibles. Hopefully I'll catch the dandelions before most of them are gone. And here's a interesting wild edible that I'll be covering in the future. That is Broadleaf Plantain. I used to have a lot of that. And narrowleaf plantain. I'm not seeing so much narrowleaf anymore around here. That's kind of odd. You know, I'll be covering things such as wild lettuce. That's another one for me to cover. There's another little cherry tree. And that, my friends, is poison ivy. I need to cut that line. And this, my friends, is curly dock. I did a video on curly dock. I said eat mo curly dock. And I had a picture of Mo from the Three Stooges with a stethoscope on. That's not as hard to see from the thumbnail. I say eat Mo, M-O-E. One of the characters, curly dock. I like to have a little fun. Now look at this. This is wild lettuce growing in my aquaponics system. This thing is about 2 foot tall or better. And check it out. It's much bigger than the ones growing in the ground, which might be 6 inches tall. Aquaponics is powerful. I've got ryegrass still in here. It's going to seed. I need to plant something. I meant to plant lettuce in here. And look at the wild mint that's come up in my aquaponics. Holy smoke, that stuff is shooting up. I got it growing outside, but nothing growing outside in the ground is growing like the stuff in my aquaponics system here. This is the oldest continuously operating aquaponics system north of the Tennessee River in Alabama. And I got a lot of the bushes around here. So my friends, please do consider the things I'm telling you. Help us get this tribe movement going. You know, like I said, maybe you can be a part of a tribe. Maybe you want to be a leader. Maybe you want to start a tribe. Maybe you want to join a tribe. Maybe you just want to collaborate. Those are all good things. Maybe you just like to share information. Another thing I'm going to do is try to set up an online place where we can all go and chat and share information. I've already downloaded some software. What's it called? It's something used in the gaming world. I tried to, and I've had some problems with it. So I'm going to try again or try something else. So I'm trying to get it set up. And one of you sent me the link and set me up for an ID to do that. So if a lady from South Carolina, my apologies. I've really been contacting hundreds of people. So if you remember, please contact me again. But we'll get something set up. I've had problems that it didn't run right, and I've tried to reinstall it and it keeps failing. So we'll get that, and I'll put out announcements of it when I get something like that working. So we'll try to have an online clearinghouse to share information, and we'll try to form local groups and chapters as much as possible. Chapters, tribes, communities, whatever you want to call it, or you can be a member as a lone person, an individual. I'm fine with that, but we can share information. So that's what we're trying to set up. And all I'm asking for in the email I'll be sending you, that some of you have already gotten, is just basically where you're at, so that we'll know how to focus the local groups. And I'm asking about some of your relative skill sets, so we'll know, what groups are rich in, where they may need help, and things like that. So it's just an organizational tool. That's all it is. And we're not going to be sending your information out. The only people that will use it is myself. I've got one assistant who's helping me out a little bit, and there's going to be perhaps if somebody wants to form a tribe or a group somewhere, we may share some of the information with the people in their area with that person, and with the understanding that they'll know that they are not to send this out. So and all we're asking for, you already got your emails. I'm just looking for your phone numbers and for your skill sets, where you're at, your address, just those simple kind of things, so that we can know how to put this together. And I'm asking some simple questions like, are you interested in being a leader? Things like that. So please do answer those emails if you've got them, and do email me at halfispace@aol.com. And this is a persimmon tree, and it tends to make lots of persimmons. I love it, even though it's crowded underneath some black gum trees, a black gum tree up there and a sweet gum tree over here. And my grandmother used to always only brush her teeth with branches from a black gum tree. My dad would always make her bristles from it, or cut her off little stems, and she'd use that as her toothbrush. And she had teeth till she died at 96. So there must have been some good to that. And she used snuff to brush her teeth. Oddly enough, she used snuff. So, oh, by the way, happy Cinco de Mayo. But I know not too many of you are sitting in a bar and getting hi-yo. No, oh mio mayo. I did not say Ohio. I said hi. Oh. Anyway. Alright everyone. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to bang the update notification bell or check it, and subscribe to my channel and check the links below. Thank you very much. Bye.